What's going on, Jackpots family? I'm back with another video. I inserted this short clip of 1090 Jake saying there's no chance in hell that Foolio's killers will get out of jail or see the light of day again. They either gonna catch the life sentence, the death penalty, and get buried underneath the jail. Yeah, that's what 1090 Jake's saying. But to me, it's looking like it's a chance that, you know, somebody might be walking free. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. And if you got some of the hype points, go ahead and hype the video up. Let's get into it.
One of the guys, when they were arresting him, I guess he had a gun to his head. Did you hear this whole story?
Yeah, they said he was suicidal. Started talking about he want to bring a Bible with him. These are all signs that things are going to go very bad for them. Like, you got a girl in it, she's pregnant, he's suicidal, wants a Bible. It's not going good.
Not going good for who?
For the killers.
Foolio's female killer just won her appeal and beat the Foolio murder case.
Case of rapper Julio Foolio, the judge who oversaw the trial of Alicia Andrews, the woman convicted in his death, has been removed from the case.
Yeah, the state Supreme Court stepped in after concerns were raised about the judge's conduct during and after that trial.
And bro, Foolio's mom's reaction was priceless. I'm talking about straight devastation, anger, all of that. But before we get into Foolio's mom reacting to this crazy news, let's talk about how the fuck she beat this. Like, no cap, this is one of the wildest legal moves I've seen in a minute, and y'all are not gonna believe how this whole thing went down. So buckle up, gang, because this story is absolutely insane. All right, so let me break it down for you real quick. Alicia Andrews, right? She was the first one to go to trial out of all 5 suspects in the Julio Foolio murder case. And bro, when I tell you the prosecution thought they had this in the bag, I mean, they were rubbing their hands together like Birdman. They had phone records. They had her traveling from Jacksonville to Tampa. They had her phone pinging off towers. They had surveillance footage. They had everything. This was supposed to be a slam dunk case, for real, for real. But here's where it gets absolutely crazy, fam. Alicia Andrews' legal team pulled off something that nobody saw coming. They filed an appeal immediately after she got convicted of manslaughter, and they froze her sentencing. And get this, the appellate court actually granted their petition and removed the judge from the case. Yo, when I read this, I was like, wait, what? The judge got kicked off the case because of bias. That's actually insane. So let me explain what happened in that courtroom, because this is where things get wild. Her lawyers, shout out to Jeremy McLemmon and his team, they documented everything. And I mean everything, bro. They caught the judge on some real questionable behavior that basically showed she was biased against the defense from the jump. First off, during jury selection, the judge was already moving funny. Alicia's lawyers wanted to strike potential jurors who straight up said they didn't understand rap music or rap lyrics. And bro, this case was heavily about rap beef, gang culture, all of that. So if you don't understand that culture, how are you supposed to fairly judge this case? But the judge...
I can agree with that to a certain extent, but one thing I do want to say, you know, real quick is that this is involving a murder case. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they trying to probably use lyrics and things like that. Maybe they don't understand, you know, hip hop or rap culture. But at the end of the day, let's get this understood. Killing and murdering has nothing to do with hip hop or, you know, or its culture. You know what I'm saying? People rap about what they want to rap about. They rap about the trap. They rap about the women. They rap about the money. They rap about the cars, the clothes. You know what I'm saying? And they do rap about, you know what I'm saying, knocking folks off. Let's just put it like that. But let's not get that, you know, misconstrued with the fact that, you know, murder and the killing has anything to do with hip hop and rap culture. You feel me? Because it don't. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. If they feel like they don't understand what's going on, then they shouldn't be up there trying to judge nobody. That's a fact.
Denied their request. She basically forced them to keep jurors who admitted they didn't get the culture. That's wild, right? But wait, it gets crazier. During opening statements, the judge told both sides they each had 1 hour. That's it, 1 hour to present their opening. But yo, the prosecutors went for 2 hours, double the time. And when the defense tried to bring this up during a sidebar, the judge straight up lied and said she never gave them a time limit. But here's the thing, fam, it was all on video. They caught her on camera saying, you guys each have 1 hour. So she lied, got caught in the lie, and just kept it moving like nothing happened. That's crazy disrespectful, no cap? And bro, it didn't stop there. Throughout the whole trial, whenever Alicia's lawyers tried to object to something, the judge would just shut them down. She wouldn't even let them explain their objections. And when they asked to go to sidebar so they could discuss legal issues away from the jury, she kept saying, no, y'all gotta understand, that's a big problem in court. When lawyers can't preserve objections on the record, it makes it almost impossible to appeal later. The judge was basically blocking them from building their appeal case, which is some sneaky work if you ask me. Let me paint this picture for you, because this is where you really see the bias. The defense would try to cross-examine witnesses, right? And the judge would rush them through it. She literally told them to fast forward through video evidence they were trying to show the jury. Imagine that. You're trying to defend your client, you're trying to show important evidence, and the judge is like, nah, speed it up, we don't got time for this. But the prosecution got 6 whole days to present their case. 6 days, and the defense is getting rushed through everything. That ain't fair at all, bro. And here's the part that really sealed the deal for the appeal. The judge kept telling the jury, don't worry, we're gonna get this case to you by the end of the week.
So check this out. Just imagine if this wasn't a case that, got so much publicity and, so much light, and just the average people that go through this on a daily basis when they go to court. You know what I'm saying? To get in front of a judge that don't want to hear nothing that your lawyer has to say, and God forbid that you have a court-appointed lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just over with. You know what I'm saying? We call them public pretenders. They pretend they on your side. They pretend that they, trying to help you out. But at the end of the day, they really is either in practice or they trying to get your ass jammed up. You know what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, you do not get out, scot-free or with something less. You always get out with more, paying more money, paying more fines, and being on probation or parole for a long time. Or you just get a longer time in itself. You know what I'm saying? Something that should probably give you 6 months, they're going to give you a year, and then you're going to be put on probation. If y'all ever been through that situation, you know what I'm saying, then y'all can let me know in the comments, because we already know. A lot of us already know how this goes.
I promise you'll be deliberating by Friday. She said this multiple times. But here's the problem. She said this before the defense even finished calling all their witnesses. So now the defense is under pressure to rush their whole case because the judge already promised the jury they'd be done by a certain date. That's putting an arbitrary timeline on someone's life, fam. Alicia was facing 15 years in prison, and the judge is worried about getting the jury out before the weekend? That's insane. The lawyers documented at least 14 different examples of bias. 14! And when they filed their appeal, they called the judge out for creating what they called a straw man fallacy. Basically, the prosecution would misrepresent the defense's arguments to make them easier to knock down, and the judge would just let it happen. She was enabling the prosecution to play dirty while tying the defense's hands behind their back. Alicia's role in the murder. Now let me break down what Alicia Andrews actually did, because this is important to understand. The prosecution said she was basically the lookout and the coordinator. They claimed she helped stalk and track Julio Foolio throughout Tampa on the night he got killed. And bro, the evidence they had was pretty damning, not gonna lie. So here's what went down. It was Foolio's birthday, right? He was in Tampa celebrating, doing his thing. Alicia and her boyfriend Isaiah Chance, who goes by Gutter Z, they traveled from Jacksonville to Tampa. The prosecution said they weren't on no vacation, they were on a mission. And the phone records showed Alicia's phone pinging all over Tampa, following Foolio to different locations. They got surveillance footage showing Alicia and Gutter Z sitting in a parking lot outside a club where Foolio was doing an appearance. They didn't go inside, they just sat there for hours. And the whole time, Alicia's phone was sending text messages to the shooters, updating them on Foolio's location. Messages like, he's here, he's moving, all of that. Then around 4:30 in the morning, Foolio leaves his last event and heads to a hotel near USA.
Regardless of the fact, she definitely is guilty of conspiracy to commit or what is it called? Accessory to the crime. Conspiracy to commit murder or accessory to the crime. It's simple. She was with her boyfriend. It's no way possible that they is gonna let this lady just slide all the way through without getting no type of guilty charge on her, unless, which I have been hearing and have heard, over the case going on, that she is telling that she's working with them and things of that nature. So, you know, it's a chance that she might get out of this, but I'm also thinking that 9 times out of 10, she is going to be found guilty of some type of crime. You can't be in the mix like that and just walk scot-free. This ain't trafficking. This ain't, you know, drug related. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know, killing, this murder. So, you know, we gonna see. But right now, it's looking like she definitely got the chance of getting off with a lot of things that the other people didn't get off with.
F to crash for the night. And guess who pulls up to the same hotel? Alicia and Gutter Z. As soon as they get there, the phone records show they're texting the shooters. He's here, come now. And bro, the surveillance footage shows their car leaving, and then the shooters pull up. Next thing you know, Foolio is getting lit up in his car. I'm talking Swiss cheese, fam. They hit that car with so many bullets, it was absolutely brutal. And here's the really messed up part. Alicia had rented an Airbnb for the trip. After the murder, the 3 shooters pulled up to that Airbnb with the guns and everything, and Alicia was right there in the house. There was no way he was getting out of it. Then the next day, they all drove back to Jacksonville together like nothing happened. Now, Alicia's defense was that she didn't know what was going to happen. She claimed she was just on vacation with her boyfriend and got caught up in something she didn't understand. Her lawyers tried to bring up that Gutter Z was abusive to her, that he would beat her and force her to give him.
Let's make it make sense. How was you sitting in the car for hours not knowing what's going on? So what you think you was doing, just sitting out there waiting on your room to get booked or something like that? How could you sit there, and I'm quite sure you see a party going on and you see all these people, and I'm quite sure you seen some familiar faces too, because you is from the state of Florida. If y'all beefing, I'm sure you know some of your boyfriend ops. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you know that you see, oh, that look like Foolio homie over there. That look like one of the girls that Foolio messed around with. That look like 2 of the girls Foolio messed around with. You know what I mean? So you sitting outside a hotel room with all these cars and wondering, like, what's going on? That's cap, man.
Her phone. They were trying to paint a picture that she was scared and being controlled, but the judge shut all that down, saying domestic violence wasn't a valid defense for murder. And honestly, the judge was right about that part. You can't use "my boyfriend was mean to me" as an excuse for helping plan a murder. But here's where it gets tricky, fam. Even though Alicia was clearly involved in something, the question is, did she know it was going to be a murder? Or did she think they were just going to pull up on him, maybe fight him, maybe scare him? That's the difference between first-degree murder and manslaughter. The jury ended up convicting her of manslaughter instead of first-degree murder, which means they believed she was involved, but maybe didn't fully understand someone was going to die. Now let's talk about Foolio's mom, because this is where things get real emotional. After Alicia won her appeal and got the judge removed, Foolio's mom was devastated. She's been pushing hard for justice for her son, going to every court hearing, speaking to the media, demanding that everyone involved gets the maximum punishment. And I get it, bro. That's her son. She lost her child in a brutal public murder. Of course she wants justice. But here's where I gotta keep it a buck with y'all. And this might be controversial, but it needs to be said. Foolio's mom is out here crying about justice and talking about how her son was innocent and didn't deserve what happened to him. But bro, let's be real for a second. Foolio was deep in the streets. This man was dissing dead people in every song. He was involved in shootings. He was getting people killed. This wasn't some innocent kid who got caught in the crossfire. Foolio was an active participant in a deadly gang war. And I'm not saying he deserved to die, don't get me wrong. Nobody deserves to get murdered like that. But his mom acting like he was just a victim and had nothing to do with the violence? Come on now, fam. Foolio was dissing Bibby, dissing 23, dissing all of Ace's dead homies. He was making songs celebrating their deaths, and we know for a fact that people died because of this beef. So for his mom to be pushing so hard for justice when her son was out here causing the same pain to other families, that's hypocritical, no cap. Like, where was this energy when Foolio was making "When I See You" and dissing dead teenagers? Where was this push for justice when people on his side were getting killed and he was laughing about it? I'm just saying, you can't pick and choose when you want justice. Either you're against all the violence or you're not. You can't be mad when it happens to your family, but celebrate when it happens to your ops families. But anyway, when the news broke that Alicia won her appeal and the judge got removed, Foolio's mom went off. She was posting on social media talking about how the system is broken, how they're letting killers walk free, how this is a slap in the face to her son's memory. And bro, I understand the frustration. From her perspective, they finally got a conviction, and now it's getting thrown out because of technicalities. She was talking about how this is going to make the whole process take even longer. And she's right about that. Now they got to get a new judge. Alicia's lawyers are going to push for a whole new trial. And this case that was supposed to be wrapped up is going to drag on for months, maybe even years. That's got to be torture for a mother who just wants closure. But here's the thing, fam. As much as I feel for Foolio's mom, the legal system has to work properly. If the judge was really biased, if she really did deny Alicia a fair trial, then the appeal had to be granted. Because if we let biased judges railroad defendants just because we don't like what they did, then the whole system falls apart. Today it's Alicia Andrews. Tomorrow it could be an innocent person getting railroaded by a biased judge. We gotta protect everyone's right to a fair trial, even people we think are guilty. And yo, let's talk about the bigger picture here for a second. This whole situation shows how messy these street cases can get. You got 5 people charged with first-degree murder, all of them facing either life in prison or the death penalty. You got phone records, surveillance footage, witnesses, all types of evidence. But even with all that, the case is falling apart because of courtroom drama and judicial bias. The other 4 defendants, Rashad Murphy, Isaiah Chance, and Sean Gathright, they're all still waiting for their trials. And now that Alicia's case got thrown into chaos, you know their lawyers are taking notes. They're going to use everything that happened in Alicia's trial to build their own defenses. They're going to point to the same judge, the same bias, the same problems. This could mess up all the cases, not just Alicia's. And bro, that's what happens when you don't run a fair courtroom. The judge was so focused on getting a conviction, so focused on rushing through the trial, that she messed up the whole case. Now, instead of having one solid conviction, they might end up with nothing. All because the judge couldn't stay neutral. So what happens now? Well, a new judge is going to get appointed to the case. Alicia's lawyers are pushing for a whole new trial, and honestly, they might get it. If they do get a new trial, the prosecution is going to have to start from scratch. They'll have to present all the same evidence again, call all the same witnesses again, and hope they get a different outcome. But here's the crazy part, fam. Alicia's already been in jail for over a year and a half. She got arrested.
That's exactly what I was gonna get ready to say, is the fact that they gotta redo all this. So that means the mom gotta come back, for witnessing. They finna redo the whole thing just to, because they put a biased judge on the bench. Now she been sitting in jail for what they're saying. Alicia already been in jail for over a year and a half. She got arrested in 2024, it's 2026. So they're gonna give her time served on that. If they don't find her guilty of a larger charge and it's something small, 9 times out of 10 she is gonna get this time right here that she been in jail. They're gonna give her time served for that. Then she gonna get out and be on probation. So therefore her stuff is just gonna be over with, beside the fact that she's on paper. That's a good chance of what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because they very rarely find all these little mistrials and bias and all that type of stuff. That's not something that happened on the regular. So it's already something in the background getting mixed up. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna lead to this young lady right here getting off with this case. Y'all watch what I tell you. She is gonna get off on these charges.
In July 2024, and it's now 2026. If she gets a new trial and somehow beats the case, or if she gets a plea deal for time served, she could actually walk free. After being involved in one of the most high-profile murders in Jacksonville history, she could end up going home. That's absolutely insane. Some people are saying she might get a plea deal for like 5 years, and with time served and good behavior, she could be out in another year or 2. Others think the prosecution is going to come back even harder and try to get that first-degree murder conviction this time. It's really up in the air right now. But yo, let me wrap this up because we've been going for a minute. This whole situation is crazy from every angle. You got a brutal murder, you got a biased judge, you got a grieving mother, you got defendants fighting for their lives, and you got a legal system that's supposed to balance justice with fairness. Foolio's mom is hurting, and I feel for her. Losing a child is something no parent should have to go through. But at the same time, we gotta acknowledge that Foolio was deep in a lifestyle that made this outcome almost inevitable. And we gotta make sure that even people accused of terrible crimes get fair trials, because that's what separates us from the streets. Alicia Andrews might have helped set up Foolio's murder. The evidence definitely suggests she played a role, but if the judge was biased, if she didn't get a fair trial, then the conviction can't stand. That's just how it works, fam. And now we gotta wait and see what happens next. Will she get a new trial? Will she take a plea deal? Will the prosecution come back stronger? We don't know yet. But what we do know is that this case is far from over, and Foolio's mom is gonna have to wait even longer for the closure she's looking for.